right, today's gospel reading is from Matthew chapter 26, verses 6 through 16. I'm doing a reading out of the Orthodox Study Bible. And when Jesus was in Bethany at the house of Simon the leper, a woman came to him having an alabaster flask of very costly fragrant oil, and she poured it on his head as he sat at the table. But when his disciples saw it, they were indignant, saying, "Why this waste? For this fragrant oil might have been sold for much and given to the poor." But when Jesus was aware of it, he said to them, "Why do you trouble the woman? For she has done a good work for me. For you have the poor with you always, but me you do not always have. For in pouring this fragrant oil on my body, she did it for my burial. Assuredly, I say to you, wherever this gospel is preached in the whole world, what this woman has done will also be told as a memorial to her." Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and said, "What are you willing to give me if I deliver him to you?" And they counted out to him 30 pieces of silver. So from that time he sought the opportunity to betray him. Explanation here, 6 through 13. Jesus accepts this honor from the woman in her newly found faith. In particular, he accepts it as a sign of his coming burial. Nevertheless, according to St. John Chrysostom, the disciples were not wrong in principle. Mercy shown to the poor is more fitting than outward signs shown even to God. However, they did not understand that once the gift had been given, it was a greater mercy to accept it with love. If anyone had asked Christ before the woman did this, he would not have approved it. But after she had done it, he looks only to the gift itself. For after the fragrant oil had been poured, what good was a rebuke? Likewise, if you should see anyone providing a sacred vessel or ornament for the walls of the church, do not spoil his zeal. But if beforehand he asks about it, command him to give instead to the poor. Verse 6, Simon the leper must have been healed by Jesus earlier, for lepers were forbidden to live in towns. Verse 13, because of her fervent faith, Jesus promises perpetual public memory of this woman. There is no consensus among the fathers as to her identity in relation to the accounts of similar events in Mark 14, 3 through 9, Luke 7, 36 to 38, and also John 12, 1 through 8. Some fathers say that there were 3 different women in these 4 accounts. Others that there were only 2. In verses 14 through 16, Judas on his own initiative seeks to betray Jesus. His motives have been debated, but the fathers and liturgical hymns declare that greed was his primary motive. This is revealed in John 12, 4 through 6, where Judas was particularly upset about the waste of myrrh in the preceding story because he was a thief. The phrase "one of the 12" is not used so much to identify Judas, who was already known by Matthew's hearers, but to emphasize the depth of betrayal, that it was one of Christ's closest followers. Amen.